Really?
Yeah, everyone just dies. I mean, it's pretty tragic. I mean, I don't know what Greeks liked. I mean, they like their little humor, and then they just love laughing about people dying. But I mean, what are you gonna do? It's pretty entertaining. I don't blame them. But I mean, now one of these stories was Antigone, written by the great Sophocles, or however you say his name. I believe that's how you say it. But this man, great writer, he's pretty good at his stuff. And what he wrote was basically, to start in the beginning, this guy, Polyneices, and I forgot the other guy's name. What was his name? I forgot his name. Anyway, these two brothers, one of them was named Polyneices, and Eteocles, whatever it says name. They had this whole spat because after their little dad died, they were both supposed to be together ruling Thebes, the city of Thebes. But apparently Eteocles was like, nah, I'm just gonna take all the power to myself, and you can just go bye-bye. So he pretty much kicked Polyneices out, exiled him out of Thebes, and Polyneices was not happy about that. And so he decided, he's like, I'm gonna come back, and you're gonna be sorry. So he comes back one day with this whole army of people, and he's just like, I'm gonna
Wait, who comes back?
Polyneices.
Okay. He's the one that got kicked out by his brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because his brother was. So Polyneices comes back, and he's like, I'm gonna destroy all of you, and I'm gonna take the throne and all that kind of crap. So these two brothers decide, they fight each other. And it was all for nothing because both of them died. So what was the point? And anyway, the real king, then this other guy came. He was just his name was Creon, king of Thebes. And apparently this guy was like, you people, this guy here, Polyneices, he tried to kill us, he tried to kill my people and destroy my city. This guy cannot be buried. And apparently back then, the Greeks cherished burial. So if you die and they bury you, then you get to go to the underworld. Yeah. But if you aren't buried, then you're pretty much just you don't worry. It's just dishonor on you. So the king didn't want to bury Polyneices. So he said, no, you can just rot outside, get eaten by a bunch of birds and dogs. Now, Polyneices' sister did not like that. Antigone. And this is where our main character comes in. So Antigone is all very upset about this because after she hears about oh yeah, your brother's not gonna get buried. Only your other brother will. Eteocles, that guy, he gets to get buried because he fought for his city and he died on it. But Antigone was not happy because she's like, really? My brother does not get to get buried? I don't care if you try to kill everybody, I mean, he should be buried. So she's telling this to Ismene, her sister as well. And Ismene is more on the side of it's the law. I don't think we should do that. But Antigone, she's being her bold lady self. And she's like, she's like a teenager, so that makes it even worse. So she's like, no, Ismene, I believe, we should just go out there and tell everybody, we're going to bury Polyneices and we don't care what the king said. But Ismene was the more conscious lady because she's like, that is stupid. What are you doing? You're a woman. A woman agrees. Back then, you had no rights. The only thing they could really do was bury their family members. That's all they could really do. That's all the rights they had. They can't talk that kind of crap. So, technically, Antigone's a woman. But Ismene says, and this is the king's orders? Don't disobey that? And Antigone's like, I can't believe you. This is your brother. You should be. I can't even. I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna bury him. I'm gonna do. What are you saying? So I'm gonna do it without you. I don't care. And Esme's like, so. Of course, Antigone. Antigone actually goes over, right? I don't know. This is within 3 days. And she goes over, and apparently there was this whole thing where a switch scene comes in, and one of the guards in the palace goes to Creon, the king of thieves. And the guard is like, king, apparently somebody tried to bury Polynesius. And the king's like, excuse me? He's like, yeah. You know, I mean, we saw, but they were kind of mad so we couldn't see them. But we noticed someone was trying to bury his body. Like they were sprinkling a bunch of dust over him. It's a ritual thing. It's like seasoning something before you bury it for good. So the king's like, you're saying that somebody tried to bury the guy's body that's supposed to be guarded from preventing anyone from burying his body? The guy's like, oh, yeah. So this is where you can see Creon's clear stupidity and arrogance, because he decides to accuse the guard of actually trying to bury Polynesius himself, or letting that person go by. So he's like, are you taking bribes, sir? No, I'm okay. I wouldn't do such stuff. You're taking money? You're taking money to let people go by and bury Polynesius, my nephew?
Oh, so Polynesius and the other guy were his nephew?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because Antigone's brother, and Antigone is a niece.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So the guy's like, no, sir, I wouldn't take any money. It's like, I think you are. I think you let this happen. And you're coming to me to cover it up as if you did nothing. Like as if you didn't take any part of this bribe. He's like, I didn't take any bribes. And the guard is a little bit sassy too, because he says, sir, you are accusing me. Your judgment is wrong. You have poor judgment, king. You're like, no, I'm out of here. So this is, the guard has a bit of sass too. Like, don't just put it on Creon. It's also the guard. It's ridiculous. I mean, wow. So the king gets upset. He's just like, guard, sir, you're gonna be punished. You and your little guard buddies. And so he decides with the accusation of bribery. He's like, take your bribes. You will be punished. You'll be sentenced to death. You're gonna be hanged. What? No, yes, you will. It's like, and the guard's just like, excuse me, sir, I promise. It's like, nah, you're gonna be sentenced to death. And it's funny because Creon doesn't even ask or do any further investigation on this crap. And so, and nobody knows who did try to bury Polynesius, so it's kind of like, oh, crap. So the guy leaves, right? Later, he comes back with Antigone, the niece. And he's like, sir, this is Antigone, your niece. And she's the one who tried to bury Polynesius. And it's like, so sir, it wasn't us. And then King's like, nah, no way. This is a joke. Because one thing, that's his niece. It's like, no, you're joking. And the guard's like, no, I promise you, sir. She did it. She even like said so herself. It's kind of sad, Like she even said so. Like, yeah, like she was just right there. We catch her. She's like, yeah, I did it, and I don't care. Take me in if you want. And so yeah, and the guy's kind of like, that was kind of sad, but at least I'm not gonna die. So the king's like, that's true. And Antigone's like, hell yeah, I did. So anyway, the king they get into this whole argument, right? And she's trying to defend herself, like, sir, it's my rights, like it's my morals, religion. It's the religion. Hades says I should do it, then I should do it. And the king's morals, or sentence of right, is the law, because he's the king. It's like, right, it's the law. You disobey. But this is the part Antigone just doesn't give a crap. She's just like, I don't care what you say, because you're just some guy with an opinion. Like it's like, who cares if you pretty much saying that, hey, the king's just some guy with an opinion. Like, girl, this is sassy. So, so she gets to this whole thing, but you're not like a god. So I don't think I see the point of obeying your orders. So yeah. And the king gets real upset. He's like, are you serious? Who? Your sister was in this, right? It's like, and she's like, what? It's like he orders the guard then to get Ismene, Antigone's sister. And the guard comes back with Ismene into this case. They try to still make their points like, Ismene tries to make a point like, hey, it's our brother, it's our family, and that kind of guy. And Antigone says, excuse me, what are you doing defending me? You played no part in this? Like, you didn't even try to help me bury my brother? Your brother? And Ismene's like, just looking at her like, bro, I'm trying to help you, man. And so Antigone's has a little bit of pridefulness in herself, too much pride. Like she's like, you're no friend if you don't do friendly things. Okay. So that's out. And the king said, okay, both of you are not above the law. I don't care if you're my niece, Antigone, you're gonna die. Okay? You're dead. You're gone. Antigone's like, so, I can't believe you. You think like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do whatever I want because I'm a part of royalty and I'm the niece of the king. The king's my uncle. So, yeah, I get scot-free. He'll make excuses. And the king, imagine the king saying that, like mocking her. It's like, well, guess what, honey? No, you are gonna die. Everybody, no, I don't care if my niece. Doesn't matter. So Antigone says, like, I don't care. So anyway, oh my gosh. Haman comes in. Haman waltzes in, like,
And who's Haman?
Haman is the son of the king of Thebes, son of Creon. The weird thing about this is like, well, it's not weird back then apparently. So you can't marry your brothers and sisters, but you can marry your cousin. So technically, Haman is pretty much betrothed to Antigone. So yeah, anyway, Antigone's the bride. So Haman's like, Dad, it's like, well, Haman, I see you hurt. Are you here to yell at me or something? So Haman's like, well, I can understand. It's like, it's the law. I would agree with you, it's the law, man. And the king's like relieved, like, oh, thank God, he's not gonna try to kill me. Until Haman says, but this is my bride. What are you doing? Like, so this is like, once Haman like says something that is pretty much trying to help Antigone, the king gets mad. So Creon's like, seriously? You are defending her? Well, yeah, it's like, she's a woman. She's a woman. What are you doing, man? And so it's like, you're my son. And so he was trying to make his logical point, like, bruh, she's trying to do the right thing. And her right is by burying her family member, her brother. And the king says, the king just keeps making arguments, and pretty much just not listening to what Haman's trying to say or his reasoning. And he's like, I can't believe you. He's like, you're coming second to a woman? Like, really? And so it's weird, Haman gets upset. He gets super mad at his dad. It's like, well, guess what? You're not gonna lay a hand on them, or else you're never gonna see my face again. So he just walks us out like, sassy Haman too. Like, everyone's sassy in this place. And Haman walks out, and the king's like, and the guy's like, no, actually, this is the chorus. So the chorus is pretty much, it's a play. So the chorus is singing for the city. So it's pretty much, they say what the city's thinking. But the funny thing is, they're super indecisive because they keep like, oh yeah, I agree with the king now, and now I agree with Antigone. So they're pretty just like back and forth. Anyway, they're somehow talking to the king like, sir, he just, I mean, what are you gonna do about you really gonna kill him? It's like, yeah. It's like, what about Ismini? It's like, I'll let Ismini go. She didn't do anything. So Ismini, you can leave. So but Antigone, you're gonna die. It's because you did it. So Antigone knows this, and she doesn't get hurt. It's like, Antigone, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find a way. And so the course is like, how are you gonna do it, sir? It's like, well, I can't really do it myself. Because apparently in Greek, it's like, if you don't kill them directly, really, that's not really considered murder. So it's like, if I can dump you in a hole and let you starve to death, I didn't kill you. You just starved to death. You were stuck in a hole. So that's how it works. So he's like, I'm gonna do? I'm taking it. I'm gonna lock you in a cave. I'm gonna bury you in a cave. And then I'm gonna give you just a bit of food, just to survive for a few days. Once that food runs out, you're gonna starve and you'll die. You're gonna live right away. And Tiffany's like, is looking like, okay. So yeah, you're gonna die. Okay, you're gonna suffer. And I'm not gonna be charged for it because I didn't really kill you. You just didn't eat your food. It's like, so anyway, he decides to send Antigone's like taking Antigone to her little cave. So the guard goes and takes him to the cave. Now, this gets to the point where this old dude comes in. The real dude. I mean, he has white hair. And
like one of the wise advisors or something?
Yeah, he's like a blind prophet.
Oh, okay.
So Tiresias comes in, the old man, and he's like, he's blind, and he has his white hair. And so people consider him to be some wise old man because apparently if you grow some white hair, you're going to some wisdom. So, I mean, you get that credibility. So Tiresias is like, sir, king, I heard what you've been doing. And there's an issue here. He's pretty much giving advice to Creon.
Mm-hmm.
The city is sick of your counsel. They're tired of how you're ruling things around here. And the king's like, excuse me? It's like, yeah, that's happening. You know that. And the whole thing about you sending some poor girl to her death, I mean, that's not cool. And so the kings are now arguing with this old man, which everyone knows who he is. I mean, he is like an advisor. And so he's like, yeah, like the city, this isn't gonna go good, man. I mean, if you keep doing this, things are gonna go bad. If you don't change your decisions, like sooner or later. He's like, what makes you say that? It's like, well, I was bird watching. I don't know how he's bird watching. He's blind. But, I mean, these birds, he's like, these birds, they were just killing each other. They were like, gory. He's like explaining this whole gory mess about birds dying. And he's like, these birds, they were withering away, like feathers everywhere, meat everywhere, and they were like melting and burning. And the king's like, okay. He's like, and that's what's gonna happen, There's gonna be death. Lots of death. Corpse on corpse, that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh man, I don't even know what you're saying. You're speaking nonsense. And this is funny because now he's throwing insults at Tiresias. I don't know exactly what he says. But all I know is that Tiresias is like talking back to him like, what are you doing, man? Oh. And so the king gets super angry and doesn't want to listen to anything Tiresias is saying. Eventually Tiresias decides, like, you know what? You're just too angry to even like clear up your mind and think reasonably and sensibly. No. You're too arrogant, sir. Like you just like, I can't. You're so self-centered and you have too much pride. It's like, That's gonna be your doom. And so he's like, I'm out of here. You're not gonna listen to anything I say. So the old man walks off, pretty much saying these things. And the king's like, whatever. And so this is where the chorus is like, sir, Tiresias has never been wrong. I mean, you should probably listen to what he's saying. King's like, it's like, yeah. It's like, don't you know this? The things he said, they've never been wrong. He's like, now the king is sort of like freaking out. He's like, maybe it's gonna happen. Like, I feel like it is gonna happen. Yeah, that scares me, man. That scares me. It's like, yeah, king. It's like, it's kind of scary. And so the chorus is still trying to like reason with him, like, all of these things people have said, maybe try to listen to them. And so this is where the king somehow in 5 seconds has a change of heart. This is a play, so we need to wrap everything up. So the king, it's like, you're right. Yeah, they're right. I'm gonna be a hero now. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna save Antigone and get her out of that cave. It's like, even though he's the one that put her there. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna right my wrongs. It's like, yeah, king. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So he's like, my servants, may you please? We're going to the cave now, and we're gonna save Antigone from starving to death. It's like, okay. So they go over to the cave, and they're gonna get her out. Now, this is where we switch to another scene back in the palace, where little Miss Queenie, the wife of Creon, her name is, I think it's Eurydice, Eurydice. And so she comes out of like, I don't know how long she was sleeping for. Jeez, you missed all that action. She's like, well, where's everybody? And the messenger, and so the messenger is like, there's a messenger that's like, I'm a queen. It's like, yeah, she's like, so something happened. It's like, what? You see, there's a bit of events that occurred. Apparently, Polyneices died, right? Yeah. It's like, and the king said, no, we're not gonna bury him. And then it got to this whole point where your niece Antigone was like, I'm gonna bury him. So Antigone buried him, or tried to bury him, and the king saw she was caught. And then the king's like, I'm gonna sentence you to your doom and send her to a cave to die. She's like, okay. So, now, the king had a change of heart, and apparently Haman knew about this. And when the king went to free Antigone from the cave, apparently when he opened like the rocks, it was like he sees Antigone dead. She's like, yeah, she apparently killed herself. She hung herself. And I'm like, top of that, I don't know what she used to hang herself. I don't know what she had, but she hung herself. And so it's like the messenger keeps going. Like, she hung herself. And apparently Haman's in there, because I guess Haman got it, trying to get her out. Haman is there, and he's just like holding on, like crying, like crying a lot. And Haman sees the king. And the king says, Haman, and they're like, well, looking to like, and Haman's pretty mad, right? He's just like, he gets up, and he takes out his sword, right? It's like, my queen, he took out his sword. It's like, and he tried to lunge at his dad, Creon, but he missed. And Creon's just like, ah. And then it's like, and he spits, he just like spits in his dad's face. And he stabbed himself in the ribs with his sword, and he died right beside Antigone. And this is, and Eurydice's like doesn't say anything. She's just standing there like.
Did she know they were going to get married?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the queen walks up. She walks out of the room. And the messenger's like, to the chorus, like, hey, so she just walked out without saying anything? Is that a concern? And the chorus is like, I mean, maybe she just didn't want to cry in front of her peoples, Like, that's something that should be kept to herself. Maybe she's just crying on her own. And the guy's like, yeah, so should we leave for alone? Like, yeah, you probably should. So they leave for, Switch scenes again, back in the palace room. The king's there. And messenger number 2 walks in. He's like, my king. It's like, yeah. It's like, sir, your wife is dead.
Oh, what?
And the king's like, oh. He's like, yeah, your wife died. And apparently, yeah, she heard about what happened to her son, who also died. And he's like, yeah. So, they get a little carriage out. And apparently this little carriage, or I don't know, a wheel thingy, holding the body.
Cart?
Like a cart, yeah. Of Eurydice.
Mm-hmm.
And her body's there, lifeless body. It's like, okay, this is your dead wife. He's like, so apparently before she died, she pretty much granted misfortune on you. It's like, yeah, she was like, she just went to this public place and she's like, everybody at Thebes, my husband, King of Thebes, Creon, is a child slayer. It's like, he killed my son, killed Antigone, and now I can't. And so she's telling everybody this. Like, her husband is evil man that killed. He's a child slayer. And so then she leaves. And she kills herself. So pretty much she just spat out hate on him and killed herself. And that was the last of her words. And so it's like, no, this is what happened, my king. And then it's like, the king's like, yeah, you are, technically, yes, you are responsible for these people's deaths. And he's like, and like, the king knows this. Like, his little change of heart made him realize, like, his arrogance caused 3 deaths. Things that could have been avoided. He's like, oh, mega. And so, the king gets into this whole weird ass speech about like the things he's done wrong. And the chorus is like talking with him. I don't even remember. What did he say? Oh yeah, he's just like talking about like, it's like, now I see this second Eva, and who will still await me? And then he's like, I don't know what the hell this is. But he's like, I have just held my child in my arms, and then it's like, my sons, like I argued with my niece about this whole rights and wrongs, and I sent her to her doom, and then she killed herself, and she's just like, hell nah, I'm just gonna die now. and then my son spat in my face and killed himself. Like, and then my wife, she cursed me and she killed herself. So everyone killed themselves. It's so dramatic. And it's funny because actually before that, he didn't even mention Antigone. And the messenger's like, bro, you also killed Antigone. He's like, okay, fine, I killed all of them. But, yeah, and it's like the whole story, like, oh yeah, knowledge is happiness. Sophocles' little belief. We found knowledge is happiness, Like, the mistakes we make is what, oh, he's here. The mistakes we make is, and if we learn from those mistakes, they'll grant us this wisdom. So yeah, that's like little Sophocles stuff there. That's his little story. But man, that's pretty much how it happened. Tragedy, I don't know if Creon died or killed himself either, but who knows?
We probably got a new family.
Yeah, maybe. Made a new one.
All right. So that's the lesson that those studying Antigone should learn if they're having a hard time reading it.
Just a short review of it. Don't rely too much, but yeah.